In this video, we're going to look at solving a right triangle. And solving a right triangle means that you want to find any missing angles or sides, any place that there's a variable. So, for example, in number 1, we're missing an angle Z and missing two sides, X and Y. I'm going to do number 2, and in number 2, I'm missing an angle. I'm missing angle Z. I'm missing one of the legs, X, and I'm missing the hypotenuse, Y. It's probably the easiest in this case to find the angle, missing angle first. And I am going to do that by remembering that angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. That means if I took the 90-degree angle down here in the corner and added it to the 50-degree angle up on the top, and then added whatever Z is, I would get 180 degrees total. So do a little bit of algebra here, and I will find that Z equals 40 degrees. So 180, take away 90, take away 50 is 40 degrees. And I'll write that in my picture. There's 40. So now I've got all the angles. I want to pick one of those angles to help me find the sides. And I think I'll use the original angle, the one that they gave me, the 50 degrees. So I'm going to mark that with an arc. And then I'm going to label all three sides as being hypotenuse, opposite, or adjacent. I know where the hypotenuse is. That's the side across from the right angle. So Y is the hypotenuse. 10 is the side opposite the 50-degree angle, so 10 is the opposite side, and X is the adjacent side, the side that is next to the angle but isn't the hypotenuse. Now it looks like if I want to find X, I am going to have to compare the adjacent side to something. I'm not going to compare adjacent to hypotenuse because the hypotenuse is another variable, and I want to have one variable and one number in my proportion. So I'm going to compare it to the opposite side, 10. I'm comparing adjacent and opposite. Now I need to choose which trig ratio I'm going to use. So, TOA, those are the three choices that I have. I'm comparing adjacent and opposite. Looks like I'm going to be writing a tangent ratio. So the tangent of 50 degrees equals the opposite side, 10, over the adjacent side, X. And now I'm going to cross multiply and solve for X. So put a 1 under the tangent. X times the tangent of 50 degrees equals 10 times 1, or 10. Divide both sides by the tangent of 50 degrees. And whatever I get from my calculator will be what X is equal to. Oops. So X is going to equal 10 divided by the tangent of 50. All right, let's get my calculator out here. If you're using a grapher, make sure you're putting it into degree mode. We're not using radians. And if you're using your table of values, just read down the tangent column and you'll find out where what the tangent of 50 degrees is. So I am in degree mode. And now let's go 10 divided by the tangent of 50 degrees. And it looks like that side is 8.3909, and we're going to round to the nearest tenth, 8.4. So we are solving these right triangles, which means that we need to find all the missing sides and all the missing angles. We've got X, we took care of Z, we still need to find Y. Y is a hypotenuse, and I've got a couple of choices here. I could use Pythagorean theorem, because I've got two of the values now, right? X is equal to 8.4. opposite side is 10. But because I rounded when I found x, it means that there's a slight error in my numbers. So I think I'm going to use the original numbers because it will give me the most accurate answer. So I'm comparing y, the hypotenuse, and once again I'll choose 10. I'm not choosing x because that's a rounded answer. I'm comparing y to 10, the hypotenuse and the opposite side, which means now I'm not looking at tangent, I'm looking at sine. So let's write a sine ratio. The sine of 50 degrees is equal to the opposite side, that's 10, over the hypotenuse, y. Same process, I'm going to cross multiply. Y times the sine of 50 equals 10 times 1, or 10. Divide both sides by the sine of 50. And pop that into the calculator. 10 divided by the sine of angle 50 degrees. If you're using a calculator that's like this, a scientific calculator, you need to figure out what the sine is first. So I would type in 50 and then hit the sine button. So the sine of 50 is about 0.7660. So I could rewrite this as y equals 10 divided by 0.6, what was that, 60. And then go 10 divided by 0.766. So my hypotenuse y is 13.05, and once again we're rounding to the nearest tenth, so y is equal to 13.1. There are my answers. I've found all the missing sides and all the missing angles of this right triangle.